What? Nans mbaa ñun kon kii ba léegi bloguñu. We are live on YouTube, but not on Facebook. Scorpion, Gambia. Musol Nikel, Dindin Ninkeba, Dindin Ninkeba, Babil Nimbero, Gambiana Banco. I can't believe what if I tell it. Meta Patrol and Lunga Metale. Niajan qualified as a platale. Almusate de Jambaru Letide. Mayalane Gambia Protele. A Scorpion, Norman Silla Tinglade. Lungala ne kama easy dead. Ni ala sonda ni kopo binala le. Golo ni man singala fa. Ni winter dreams on the dilata. From Banyu to Basse to Brika, Majara, ni Badi, Fofo, ni Duale Ketalie. Fanning victory sina. Coming Bundalo. Low. Al Sankele su. Ila Jalolieso, Bolo, Nanyumbundalo, Kasankeleso, Musolinkel, Tindinkeba, Fondinkel Nimpabil Nimerol, Car dingola, Alme Tankala Dalla, Carla Setani dingola lafo, Boli play, Gambia bebe coma, Makoma Jibe Mote coma, Sate bebe coma, Kenoma, son of a Gambian, one hell of a champion, by like a scorpion, been under the dungeon, under the sun, Nakeba, I'm easy, Dilicato Kenyo, Kona Sama, Poto, Kona, Waka, last to score, posing, unstoppable, like a stop, no now you professionals. We got faith in y'all, Things are getting so Polo, Punta, we celebrating with y'all. Finding victory, Sina. Coming Bundalo, Al Sankelesu, Ila Jalolieso, Bolo, Nanyum Bundalo, Nascopiano, Kasankelesu, yeah. Shout out to the officials. I'm in Bara Footballer Soul. We have to see everyone. Anyways, we're live, but for some reason we're only live on YouTube at the moment. So I'm just trying to send a message. I think this Zanus issue is still affecting us with the commentary before.
So we're still blocked?
Yeah. But we're live.
Do you want to stream it on YouTube? Can you stream it on your page?
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do.
Hi, Baboucarr. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay, Nancy. How are you?
Yes, I'm Nancy Gallo.
Nancy, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fine as well. Sister Mama?
Yes, Baboucarr.
How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm okay too. How is Sweden? You're in Sweden, aren't you?
Yes.
Where in Sweden?
You in Gothenburg.
Oh, Gothenburg.
And we're live. We're live, by the way.
That's why I'm not making any other comment. I heard you when you said we are live on YouTube already, so
yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm behaving.
Is Pao's coming on board?
Yes, very soon, I'm sure.
Who else is coming?
The minister is coming very soon, and Paos is also coming.
Oh, the minister's coming.
Yes.
Wonderful.
He'll be joining us very soon. So, Nance, maybe you can do the introductions today whilst I sort out this here.
So
okay. Good evening. Welcome back. Sorry?
All right. Go ahead. It's okay.
Okay. Good evening, viewers. Welcome back to Linger Post. Welcome to the Social Issue Show. I'm your co-host, Nancy Jallo. Mama is trying to sort us out with Facebook. We apparently offended Mark Zuckerberg. So he put us on timeout. So we are in the naughty corner. We apologize to some of our viewers, and Mama is trying to see if she can stream it live on her Facebook page. Jërë ngeen jëf si li ngeen bokk si suñ show bi xam ngeen ne Mama de def affaire olof bi waaye tey nag dama try dama jéngu nit si niñ ko defee ajuma bu jot waaye tey dañ ko def alxames parce que ëllëg bés bi ñun ñëpp dañ xala jàppa so ñu isil leen ko tey nag moom topic bi ñun ñëpp xam nañ lan la fanaa Mama num solo rek ak Baboucarr Camara mooy suñ guest bi Baboucarr is the communications person for the Gambia Football Federation, right? Did I get that right?
Yes, the communications director.
Yes, he's the communications director for the Gambia Football Federation. We can't start the show without celebrating. Woohoo, the Scorpions. The boys have really, this is their first time, and they were really treated as the underdogs. I don't know much about football. I only watch. You know, when things like this happen, when there's like breaking news, like, you know, the Scorpions have made it to the African Cup of Nations and we made it all the way to the quarterfinals. This is unheard of. For me personally, despite all the hula hoop, all the extras, I don't want that to take away from the fact that these guys have done amazingly well. They have exceeded everybody's expectations, and we have to congratulate them. And they have definitely inspired a whole generation of young kids who believe that they can do it. If these guys can do it, they can do it. There's nothing more powerful than a little boy or a little girl actually witnessing and living through this. This is the first time in Gambian history. So yes, you know, bravo to the Scorpions. Thank you. Mama?
Yes, definitely. And Nancy, today our guest is no other than Bakary Camara. He is, of course, the communications director for GFF, the Gambia Football Federation. And we'll be talking about, like we said, the successes, the failures, or the lessons learned, and how we move forward as a country, and of course, as the national team. I'm hearing some breaking news that would be coming from the national team soon. So I'm sure we will be looking forward to hearing more.
You guys have to tune in. We're going to have a lot of guests on board. You want to hear what happened? You want to hear about the celebrations, what was going through their mind when Gambia made it to the quarterfinals? Tune in on Linger Post, YouTube. We're trying to sort out our Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg put us on timeout. So right now we're in the naughty corner.
Yes. So Baboucarr Camara is the director of marketing and communication at the Gambia Football Federation. He first joined the GFF as the human resources manager in January 2017. And then he moved, of course, to this current position in October 2018. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Digital Media from the University of the Gambia, and a Master's in Global Sports Management from the Seoul National University in South Korea. Before joining the GFF, Mr. Camara worked with various media houses, including the defunct Daily Observer newspaper, where he served in various editorial capacities up to the rank of Deputy Editor-in-Chief. He is also with Today newspaper as well as West Coast Radio, where he served as an editor until September 2010. Camara is 38 and has covered several international current affairs, sporting events, including the London 2012 Summer Olympic Games. So he is our guest today or tonight, and we will be speaking to him, of course, about everything AFCON. We have also the Youth and Sports Minister, Bakary Badjie, who will also be joining us. As we said, we can only stream on our YouTube channel at the moment because apparently we have a problem with the Facebook page. So we need to stream just on YouTube at the moment. So Nancy, this is what we're doing tonight. Esa is also on. Esa, do you want to say hello before Bakary also says hello to our viewers?
Mama, did you try your Facebook page?
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Thank you, Mama. Hello, everyone. I've missed the program a few weeks ago. However, this one I couldn't miss. I phoned Mama and said I will take a break from work so that I just have some burning questions I want to ask these officials from the GFF
Yes.
and the Minister of Sport. So thank you for having me, Mama, once again. And I look forward to having the Minister on board. Yeah, thank you.
You're more than
welcome. Thank you to the Minister for really taking time off to be part of our show. We appreciate it.
Yes, definitely. So whilst we're at it, Esa, you can go ahead and start asking some questions whilst I create this. But let's give Baboucarr the opportunity to also just say hello to the viewers that are watching him from everywhere around the world, basically.
Thank you very much, Mama. I hope I'm audible, am I?
Yes, you're very good. You're coming out well.
Wonderful. So good evening to all your wonderful listeners. And this is the first time actually I'm on this particular platform. But then I've worked, followed your work over the years during the dictatorship and even the post-dictatorship. And you're one person that I admire a lot. And on a couple of occasions I think we've said some things, but you don't seem to remember that it is the same Baboucarr.
Yes, I wasn't sure before until I went into your profile.
Exactly. So yeah, so actually that's the thing. But yeah, I'm here. Good to be here. And Nancy, I think this is the first time we're interacting. But the way the way you are firing up already, I can see the excitement in you. So I know today we have a very, very fantastic show. You talked about your limited knowledge when it comes to football, but I can tell you what, today you're gonna know. You're gonna know a lot about football, and you can add a lot of things to your football vocabulary too as well today. But
yeah,
then,
like outside.
Football is a unique language, So it's loved by everyone, and it's very, very easy to understand, So I'm going to be here, and hey, let's get the show rolling already.
Yes.
I'm excited. Anything.
Let's get the ball rolling. Esa, I don't know if you want to start with the questions.
Yeah. But
okay. Yes. Of course.
Esa what?
Esa Gay. Esa Gay.
Okay.
Esa Gay, he's in the UK and in the United Kingdom military. So military man, watch out.
No. I'm a sports person now, so we're all football fans. Since the Scorpions have done a wonderful job, and thank you very much, Mr. Camara, for coming on board. My question is, I know that the boys have done really well. We all see the excitement. The Gambians were really happy. However, I think there's a learning curve that we need to take here. The games that we played, I don't know whether you guys have been speaking to the coach, because anything that you do, you have to have a KPI, key performance indicators. And so when the boys were supposed to come back, the logistic issue as well, we need to talk about that. And also infrastructure when it comes to Gambian football. This is something I wanted to ask you guys, and then the minister. since 1985, there's only one standard football facility in the Gambia. That's the Independence Stadium. And I don't believe that stadium is now fit for purpose. You have traveled to other African countries. You've just come back from Cameroon. You see the standard of their stadium. And then you go to the Independence Stadium, and then you see you host international games in there. I believe that is embarrassing now. If the boys can perform to that level, imagine if we have a multi-purpose facility that the young people can be using to be playing football, the talent that we can produce in the Gambia, a country of 2.5 million, and just relying on one independent stadium for football matches. It's not only for football matches, anything in the Gambia, we use that independent stadium. So what plans do the government have, or the federation, to at least help the youth and the footballers and build something that is fit for purpose for the people? That's just one of my first questions. So I don't know if you can help us with answers on that.
Yes, I'm not sure you asked one question, because I've been listening and I thought you were talking about tactical issues as well, like
Yes.
KPI with regard to the coach, innit? Key performance.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
I
You're a
think
good listener. That's good.
Exactly. Well, I don't know where I am, but I really listened to this question very well. You're talking about technical issues. I don't think you were very clear, as specific, I would say, as to what really you wanted to ask. But when it comes to, we can come to that later. But when it comes to the issue of infrastructure, first of all, I speak on behalf of the Gambia Football Federation, and I think I also need to educate the listeners a little bit about the relation between the Ministry of Youth and Sport and the Gambia Football Federation. Because
yes, I think that's where you should start with.
Exactly, and I know why I'm doing that. That is actually premeditated. It's deliberate that I'm starting with that, because some people do not really understand the relations between the two organizations. First of all, the Gambia Football Federation is an organization of an associative nature. It's a private organization of an associated nature. It's not a subsidiary of the Gambia government. We are responsible for all football-related matters, the promotion and the development and the administration of football in the Gambia. Our relation with the government is that we are actually also representing the Gambia, because they said Gambia Football Federation, not Mr. Badjie Football Federation or Mr. Camara Football Federation. And anywhere in the world, national teams are responsibilities of the government, because they go out there to represent the government. So for the past few years, definitely the ministry has been doing a lot in terms of supporting that. We'll come to that later, but like I am saying, the Gambia Football Federation, the membership of the Gambia Football Federation is that there is a general assembly which comprises of the clubs. You know, we have clubs in the first and second division. I don't know. Am I speaking very fast?
No, you're good.
I understand what you.
No, yes, I
understand that aspect. Yeah.
I know you may understand, but there are a lot of listeners out there who do not know. And I think if we want to discuss football and also the way forward, because listen,
I want to know. I didn't know that you guys were a non-government entity, so that's news to me. So keep going.
Exactly. And then the AFCON is a game changer. So if we want to build on the achievements that we have made, I think there are certain things that the public also deserve to know. So there is a General Assembly, which is the supreme body of the Gambia Football Federation. And these are the 16 first division clubs, 18 second division clubs, and each region, they have a football association that administers the regional third division. Like Banjul have their own football association, Carnifing has, LRR, all the 7 administrative regions. And also there are allied associations, because football cannot go without referees. Football cannot go without coaches. So you have, and also women football as well as school sports, which is the grassroots base of football in the Gambia, and the Players Association. This is what composed of the Gambia Football Federation. And these are the people who elect the president and the entire executive committee of the Gambia Football Federation. The executive, Kababajo, and up to the last person in the executive is elected, and it's a non-paying job. It's a voluntary job. But then there is a secretariat the Secretariat is responsible for the administration. The executive is there at the policy level, and the Secretariat is responsible for implementing that policy. And that Secretariat is headed by what we call a General Secretary, which is also the chief executive of the institution. And then all of us fall under his purview. So this is what composed of the GFF. They can elect who becomes the president of the GFF. And then if they want today, those clubs, they are very powerful. If they want today, they can just fire Lamin Kababajo. You understand? So, so this is it. It is not, there is no government that appoints any member in the executive, not even a staff. It is the executive, which is also the board of the organization. They are the ones who are responsible for the hiring and firing of the human resource base of the organization. So this is basically it. Some people think that actually the GFF is even a department under the Ministry of Youth and Sport. That is not the case. We are independent of the Ministry of Youth and Sport. We are answerable to our stakeholders, who I call the supreme body. That is the General Assembly of the Gambia Football Federation.
Who are your stakeholders?
Well, like you have clubs, Real de Banjul, Waliden, Gamtel, Gambia Ports Authority. Yeah.
Well, when you say Gamtel and Gambia Ports Authority, those are government entities.
Yes, but I mean,
excuse me, Nancy.
Yeah, they have football clubs.
Nancy, I understand, Mr. Camara. I understand what you were trying to explain. I think my question was...
No, but I don't, Esa, I don't. So, Balal Marek, I have a question. If you're saying that Gamtel and Gambia Ports Authority are stakeholders, Gamtel and Gambia Ports Authority are under the government of the Gambia, and if they are stakeholders and they do contribute or pay a quota, that means they are using Gambians' resources to do this. So as much as you're trying to say that you guys are separated from government, if you have government stakeholders, then you're not completely as independent, I guess, as you're trying to say.
I will help you.
They have football teams, Nancy, so it's not the...
That's a relevant question. And for me, as a sports person and a football person, she doesn't understand, but I think her question is very, very relevant. And it deserves an answer that will make her understand, so that she will be able to distinguish the difference that I'm trying to talk about here. Now, Gambia Ports Authority, they have a football club called Gambia Ports Authority Football Club that have their own board. They have their president, they have their first vice president, they have their secretary general, and those are the ones that are responsible for the administration of Gambia Ports Authority. Now, of course, they spend taxpayers' money on Gambia Ports Authority. But our members, the members of the GFF, do not contribute any money to the GFF. Rather, it is the Gambia Football Federation who are supporting these clubs, and including those institutional clubs that we are talking about here.
And where do you get the money from?
FIFA.
GFF.
From FIFA.
Okay.
They got sponsors from FIFA.
99% of our funds come from FIFA. You understand?
Okay. Thank you. I didn't know that.
So you see, so this is the whole point. So we support them because we have what we support the clubs annually. We give a certain amount of money to every member of the GFF, because right now, I mean, we have a sponsorship fatigue in the Gambia. Unfortunately, corporate organizations are not sponsoring football. They still see it as a corporate social responsibility. And for me, I think sports sponsorship goes beyond CSR now. But that is the situation that we have right now. So, and then because our clubs are amateur, so we need the support. These clubs need the support of the GFF. In the past, what they used to contribute, that is the club, is they pay a registration fee every year to participate in the domestic championship. But for the past 7 years, the Gambia Football Federation has waived that registration fee for its members. No member pay any registration fee to play in the league. Rather, we give them participatory money depending on the level that you are. And not only that, anywhere right now, the league is playing between along the length and breadth of the Gambia. From Banjul to Basse now, for the first time in the history of Gambian football, we are playing national league across the country. And then, getting to one part of the country and the other, transportation is always the constraint of most of these clubs. So whenever they are playing, anywhere they are playing, we also ensure that we provide for their transportation. You understand? So it is like in the case of Gambia Ports Authority, it is the board of the Gambia Port Authority management will decide who are going to manage the football club. And those football clubs, that is who, those are the people, the personnel there are the ones who deal with the Gambia Football Federation. So it's not as if they are putting their money on us. We are the ones that put money on them.
We're going to speak in the local languages as well, but let's get the questions from Esa. Esa, do you have another question, or can I come in?
Well, no, Mama, Luma buga clarify, because I understand the government is separated from, because even FIFA will suspend the Gambia to participate if the government get involved into the Football Federation affairs. I understand that, because lolu musna ñoo dal si time Yaya Jammeh. So man understand now that aspect, and I thank you for explaining to other people.
Yes, I have network issues. He's in the UK. Third world country problems. Mama, go ahead.
They can deal with Boris.
No, someone called my someone. I'm using my phone. That's why I reject the call.
I thought Boris was tampering with the network.
No, it's not. This is not Boris. But Mr. Camara, lima buga pour ñu gëna clarify. I understand GFF ñu get try. Why you have a relationship with the government? Understand? Yes. Man lima wax mo neka. The football infrastructure since 1985.
Yes.
You guys can call on the government. Okay, this park being fini is not fit for purpose right now. Since legi, so long they host international games. Man lu ma ragal, dañoo use this stadium facility bobu nonu. Bam collapse. Duñ amati sax fu ñoo play, and I suspect that dañoo mujjé di play suñ games in Senegal somewhere else, because stadium be right now. You can tell me so for them.
Definitely deflated.
Have you tried using the toilets in there?
Yes, sir. I just want to pose you there. And thank you very much for that question. This is a very, very important question. And we made reference of me just returning from Cameroon, having seen the facilities there. I've seen the facilities in Cameroon. You don't compare those facilities to that in the Gambia as in itself, but even the facilities in Cameroon are not top notch compared to the sports facilities that I've visited. As you heard from Mama in the introduction, I've covered the Olympics in London as a journalist. So I've gone to many sports facilities in England, including the Olympic Stadium. And I also studied in Korea. So I'm exposed to a lot of sports facilities. I can tell you, under the current condition, we have a qualifying match against Chad in March, and there is a very, very likely probability that we may not play that match at home, because the Independence Stadium, when you look at that, even compared to the standard in Cameroon, if factors come, I doubt we are going to pass.
Thank you. That is what I was afraid of.
You understand?
Okay. Why do we? What my problem is now? This is what I will bring in the government in here now. My problem here.
I think if the minister comes in here, will be very, very important, because he will be in a better position to answer that, because I understand that they are working with the Chinese to ensure that we have a new state-of-the-art stadium in the country, somewhere in the Combo area. But at the level of the GFF, what we are doing is that because football cannot develop in the absence of proper infrastructure.
Thank you.
Are in very terrible condition. The stands are not good. You name them. So what we did was there is this window at FIFA called Forward. The FIFA Forward. It used to be win-win. That has now faced, their contract of agreed objectives. And now since the new president came, Infantino, he has also phased that out to what we call Forward. Now in this Forward, there is a certain quota that every member association from FIFA is entitled to. You can use it to develop football infrastructure and other programs that are all geared towards the development of football. So what we did is that, it is the amount is given in a 4-year period. So what we did was we identified some stadiums, most of these stadiums that where we play our domestic league matches, like Banjul, Serekunda East, Serekunda West, Manjai, Bakau, and many other places. These were the places that we identified to develop, the playing field, the toilets, and also start pavilions there. And it's going to be done in phases. However, when we started this program, we were very, very ambitious about it. Of recent, there have been a lot of talk about it, here and there, but we are very ambitious. I think what we could have done was to concentrate on at least ensuring that all that money that we were dividing across all these, like about 12 stadiums at the same time, and it is not as if FIFA approves this money 100% and gives to you. They give it to you in stages. We could have, as a federation, we could have concentrated on 1 or 2 venues, make sure that we develop that to the standard that we desire, and then the next quarter of the money is spent on another stadium. I think that would have been easier than what we have started.
Okay. So Baboucarr, I just want to ask there. I remember there was a project called the FIFA Gold Project or something like that, and there was money allocated for the building of stadiums or at least mini stadiums for the decentralization of the games in Gambia. Part of that was to get places like Birkama kitted with stadiums so that they actually have their own, the game is decentralized. And we see that that money has not really helped with the development of sports or hasn't really been used for that purpose. Do you have anything? I know this was before your time, but it was called the FIFA Gold Project. What are some of the things that happened that made this project not to come to light? And who, for example, has anybody been held accountable for this?
Well, what happened before I joined the GFF, I am sorry, there is not much that I can talk about because my knowledge about it is very limited. I just want to be honest, and I don't want to speculate. You understand? And I don't want to give your listeners.
So next time we'll get Lamin Badjie here to answer the questions, right?
well, maybe. I mean, but then
since he's been there for like the past 100 years, so he's in a better position to answer those questions, Mama.
What I can talk about is the current projects. The current projects. That's what I'm explaining. The problem is that we have started these projects: Brikama, Banjul, Serekunda East, Serekunda West, Bakau, Gunjur, Busumbala, and also Old Yundum, and all the way to Jara Soma. Now, in these projects, there have been some significant progress in some of the projects, but some of the projects are at a standstill in the sense that we found it very, very, very difficult to unlock this money from FIFA. You understand? Because FIFA also, there is too much politics here and there. Some of these monies they promise, they don't give it to you at once. You understand? And also, like I said, we started a lot of projects at the same time when we could have concentrated on few projects and get that over the head, But then we started all these projects together, and then they've not reached where we want to. Now FIFA also, up to now, we've been after several meetings and several assurances, we still await some of these funds. But places like Serekunda East is ongoing. The pavilion is on as I'm talking to you. The perimeter fence has been done, and also the grass is on. Gunjur also is ongoing, and even Bakau, when you go there, you will see that the pavilion has started, and there is a significant improvement there, as well as the perimeter fence. So some of the projects are ongoing, but some of them also, we have to hold them to concentrate on these few projects that are the present matters. This is because, the responsibility of the GFF is not to develop infrastructure. You understand? You all live in the advanced world. You know that like in Gothenburg, where sister Mama is.
Yeah.
That is okay. But in Gothenburg, you know there is a club there in the Allsvenskan called AFC Gothenburg. In it. And not to that level. That is why, because there is this window from FIFA, we see it as an opportunity to help develop the infrastructure. But if we want to ensure that there is proper development of infrastructure in the country, then we need to have the government involved. I know they have also started at their own level. They are doing one in Bullock and also one in the Lower River region in Kiam. But I think the government can have their own targets. And for me, where it will start is for them to have a new sport policy, because the policy that they have has already expired since 2018, and then there's no succeeding sports policy that can guide them in terms of the way forward and the development of sports and infrastructure, vis-a-vis and all those things. I think that is what they should do. At least even if it would mean every year or two having one state-of-the-art or advanced at least stadium in each region or district. And also this is where the municipal councils also comes into play, not only the central government. Because when you go to this place, Cameroon actually, when you look at the infrastructure in place, Cameroon was actually not ready to host this African Cup of Nations. It just had to happen, but Cameroon was not ready with terms of the infrastructure. But what really helped their cause was that, the local governments in Cameroon were able to build a lot of mini stadiums that were able to meet the needs of all the 24 teams that participated in the African Cup of Nations. And these things are not very, very complicated. Like in the case of KMC, I mean, we just have to ensure that we change our people's mindset when it comes to sport. Let us understand that sport is a corporate enterprise. Sports has gone beyond entertainment and pleasure. Now look at all these contracts that the boys get outside. You understand the amount of money that they pay them. Some of these players, they got some decent boxes at the end of every month. Look at the remittances that they send back home. You understand, and that really helped in developing the economy of the Gambia. So, and once we help in this, we have proper infrastructure that is going to increase the player pool. Let's try and work together, all stakeholders combined, to professionalize our league. Once we professionalize our league, then it becomes a source of employment for the youth. Let's say we have 10 professional clubs in the Gambia. Each club, you have 30 players. Times 10, is that not 300 players? And we have a minimum salary of even let's say $200, $10,000, or even $5,000 for 300 youth. You have employed 300 youth, and this is going to be the playing staff. You understand? You have doctors there, because football cannot be played now without a doctor, without a physiotherapist, without a coach, without a trainer. So in the end, how many people are we talking about sports employing? Even if it is 500, at least that is somewhere that we can start from. So for me, I mean, I've made that call earlier and nobody seemed to listen, but I think also the National Assembly should legislate sports funding now, make it mandatory. Let them have a certain percentage of the national budget that goes to sports development every year, even if it is 5% of the national budget. At least if that 5% of the national budget, 50% of it can go into federated sports, that is football, basketball, or other sports, and the remaining 50% can be used to develop infrastructure. You go to one region or one district, develops a multi-purpose stadium where you can have a football field, athletic track, you have a basketball court inside. In fact, you can have a multi-purpose hall. This multi-purpose hall would be able
I see that KMC is doing that together with support from, I don't know if I should mention their names, but AfriCell is helping KMC build a multi-purpose sports center near the traffic lights. A
park. It's different.
Yeah, but it's supposed to have a sports element as well to it, in that there will be tracks for running and so on. But Baboucarr, I just want to come back to that. You talk about sports development. You talk about the National Assembly at some point even getting involved to build or to develop sports in the country. What is the GFF doing in terms of lobbying for legislation, in terms of awareness raising? Because a lot of young boys today would aspire to be a Ndajang. A lot of boys will aspire to be a Musa Baro, etc. But if they do not have the infrastructure or the support, it's very difficult for sports in the Gambia to develop, and it's going to be also very difficult to export players, to be able to get people to agents to buy players, etc. What is the federation doing? I know we have Mr. Jallo, who's part of the Olympics committee as well, and he will also be joining us. We have Minister Bakary Badjie on at the moment. So let's just give him an opportunity to also say hello to our viewers and our listeners. Bakary, thank you so much for joining us here on India Post. We appreciate you coming at such short notice to join us here. We have Baboucarr Camara as well from the GFF, who's just been explaining basically about the need for sports funding, etc. But you can say hello and then we can continue. We'll of course talk about AFCON. AFCON is one of the things that we need to talk about. I'm sure, but we will talk about that. Well, Bakary, welcome. Welcome, and of course, congratulations to you and your team, the GFF, and everybody for such a wonderful debut at the AFCON for the boys. Welcome to the new team.
Thank you, Mama, and good evening to people that are watching. Good evening, of course, to the ones that I found here, Baboucarr and Tijalo, and I guess Nana. It's good to be here, and yes, I've been following a little bit. It was difficult to get the link, but eventually I just have to come online and see. But yes, happy to be here.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. The first question that we wanted to ask, and it's good that you came at the right time. We were talking about sports funding, Bakary, the fact that there needs to be, actually sports can be a driver in terms of developing or youth employment. And that is something that I think the government is very particular about. But there has to be some form of legislation to be able to get more investment into sports, etc. Baboucarr was suggesting that there has to be National Assembly legislation for some portion of the national budget to be allocated to sports development and to developing sports in the country. What are some of your thoughts, having been in office now for 3 years now?
No, just 1 year.
Just 1 year, okay, just 1 year. What are some of the things that you're thinking about or your office is thinking about in terms of developing not just infrastructure, but sports as a means of youth employment?
Right, no, thank you, Mama. Yes, I think you're right. When I connected, that's what I found the conversation on the issue of the need for infrastructure. I agree entirely. I think if anybody listens to my interview since I was appointed, that is one thing that I've been harping on all the time, that you cannot develop sports without having the right infrastructure in place. I have said that multiple times because that is the reality. Unfortunately, the understanding of our people maybe in the past is that mass participation is what matters. And so everywhere you go, you have people playing sports, but not having the right infrastructure in place, not even having a legislation that is in place to regulate sports and sports administration in the country. And that has been one of the challenges. So yes, we acknowledge that as a ministry, we acknowledge it as a government, that we are not able to move ahead unless we have the right infrastructure. Because again, what you see at the apex of the sports is what is produced at the mass participation level. And if you don't have the infrastructure right, or you don't even have the capable people who can be able to train our people and educate our people on sports, you probably be spending decades doing it, but you never get to the apex as you want. So at the moment, there has been some improvements recently in terms of budgetary allocations towards the sports, especially through the levy that government created. And it's not much really, but at least it's better because it's able to do quite a number of things that we're doing now is because of that funding that government is providing through that levy, and of course what has been coming from the Minister of Finance. So we would work on it. We'll continue to work on it. At the moment, we are developing a national sports bill that will eventually be a National Sports Act. And in there, we have quite a number of things, including the funding of sports activities and sports infrastructural development. Now, whenever that law comes into pass, then some of these issues will be addressed. But as always, I think we also need to develop our sports because the leagues would eventually need some support. The other ones will, the association will need some support. That way, you're able to also contribute. Today, if you approach a company and say support us in this, they're not going to do it. So everything is in the hands of government, and government as it is, especially our own government with the little resources we have. There are sometimes some competing priorities when the government prioritizes and said, okay, agriculture, education, health is our priority. Then that means most of the budget is going to go into that sector or those ministries. Now, what about the other ministries? So that is the reality that we have at the moment. Most of our budget goes into education, into health, into agriculture. I don't know which one is the fourth one. There is a fourth one where it goes into. So the rest share the remainder. So these are the issues. But yes, there are plans to develop laws.
Does government understand sports as a driver for development in terms of being able to employ a lot of youths that can actually also, because when you build, like Bakary was saying, like Baboucarr was saying, when you build these local clubs and they're able to employ these youths as professional footballers within professional leagues in the Gambia, then easily you can create over 500 jobs in a space of a few within few clubs in the Gambia competing through professional sports inside the Gambia. But does government understand that area as a driver for youth and for youth employment? And if not, what can you do as a ministry to try and raise awareness in terms of this sports as a means of developing youth employment?
Okay, that's a little bit difficult to say whether government understands it, because it depends on the people, and like I said, what they call priority. Now, if I was going to be the one controlling the budget or deciding what goes to what, I would prioritize sports and youth empowerment, because I know that is going to be the driving force for all kind of development, for the maintenance of peace and security in the country, for reducing unemployment and all that. But that was not the thinking before now. And for me, coming into office, that's one thing that I keep talking about, even at cabinet level and everywhere that I meet people, I try to make them understand that sports is not just about leisure. There is a lot of benefits that is there. If you invest in sports, you can have a lot of young people employed, not even young people alone, but others. There could be an increase in economic activities, because anytime you have sporting activities, people come there and make business. Taxis would make money by transporting people back and forth. Men and young people, women who sell will go there and sell, and the economic activities will grow. But also, infrastructure-wise, you have a stadium somewhere else in a rural area, it forces people to migrate towards that area, and they become residents of that part, and that decongest the metropolis. But again, our young people, quite a number of them, are into all kinds of social vices, using drugs. But the more you have activities, they tend to focus more on the sporting activities rather than on drugs. And so that also reduces the burden on security, because you don't have to have a number of cases of burglary and other things. But these are things that we talk about all the time. That has maybe not the thinking of people before now. Even health, you have more people participating in health is a way of preventive health instead of curative health. So, but these are the thinking that we have. Maybe some other people don't have it. That is why our budget is very small. But it's not, I think it's the general mindset of our average Gambians and how people see sports. People were talking about, why are they putting this much money into the national team? When we talk about the 90 million, you see a lot of comments saying 90 million when our hospitals don't have medicines, when our bridges, when we need roads. That is the mindset. And I talk to people even at of course, excluding the minister and others, but some people at the finance ministry and said, why are you always giving us this small budget? And they will tell you, why do you use large sports like Florian Amarek Bahada? That is mindset that we need to change. But it's going to take a lot of education and a lot of policy to change, for us to change it. But it's the general mindset of people, and it's difficult to change the people who don't understand the value of sports. But we are definitely working on it. And like I said, maybe the law will change a lot of things. More sensitization will change people's perception.
Yeah.
Mama,
we have Mr. Diallo as well from the Olympic Committee. He's also here. And we wanted to also get him to maybe come in here before we get Baboucarr again. Go ahead, Mr. Diallo.
Good evening, Honorable. Good evening, Nancy, Baboucarr. Formerly from the GNOC. I'm no longer there, but I'm still with sports. Honorable, congratulations. Definitely, you have done us proud, and I think the entire nation deserves to congratulate you. What I intend to divert the discussion is that I think from the caption, it's about more or less lessons learned and how we can solve the problems and how we can improve on what we have done. the misinformation that we received that has caused all this problem. Yes, Honorable, I've done a very, very good and clarify. My question is, what was the communication to the team, to the players? Whether there was no communication or communication to them that warranted them to come out and make such an unfortunate pronouncement. I know that this is not part of the SNCC, it's like the CFF, the coach and the management of the team. But we just want to understand as a public what was communicated to the team and what was not communicated that warranted such.
Sure, if I understand.
I think someone is having background.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise.
I don't know who it is. Maybe they can mute while someone else is talking.
It's not from me.
Let me see. Maybe it's me. I don't know. There's a TV. People watching football here.
That's why I left the TV and moved up.
Go ahead.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, Bakary, you can go ahead.
You mean Baboucarr or Bakary?
Bakary. I think the question was for Bakary, the minister.
No, for both of them. Because
for both of them. Okay.
Yes.
Baboucarr, then you can start whilst Bakary is sorting out the noise.
More for Baboucarr because the minister has cleared his part by the audio I listened.
No, I didn't hear. Was it about the question was what the players said? Because it was breaking, so I didn't hear that.
With the players, how come that breakdown happened for them to get frustrated to the point where they were communicating with their clubs and, of course, getting a lot of stress from their clubs and not getting enough information from GFF, and then it resulted in some live videos, and of course, the rest, as you know, is history with Gambians all over the place.
Yeah, maybe Mr. Camara would Baboucarr would try to answer that, because I wasn't in the same place with GFF with the players. I'm not sure if they were not communicated to, but maybe Baboucarr would be able to answer that better. Because we communicate through the GFF president, and it goes down to them.
Yeah. Okay, Baboucarr.
Well, thank you. But I think if you had listened to the minister's interview he had in Dimbe, I think he's cleared it all. There isn't much that I can add to, unless for maybe some people who may not have watched that interview. First of all, there was never a moment when there was a breakdown in communication between the GFF and the players. You understand? But like the minister explained, these are circumstances that was not the making of the GFF. That was not even the making of the ministry, because the government has played their part. We have to be very, very honest to the government of the Gambia, and especially, in fact, that was where I wanted to interject. I mean, I'm not here to praising Bakary or whoever, but I think we have seen that for the very first time in the history of Gambian football, we're talking about what? A chartered flight transporting players to and from competitions. And we have already seen the result by qualifying for our very first AFCON. You understand? So we have to be very fair to the Gambia government, because when there were no funds, the government put in $90 million to start our preparation to the African Cup of Nations. And this was administered by the National Coordinating Committee, which comprised of members from the ministry, which the minister himself cares, and then his vice chair is the president of the Gambia Football Federation, and it includes other members from both the ministry, the GFF, and others in both the public and even the private sector. These were the ones. But there is a logistic committee that has been tasked to ensure to take care of all logistical arrangements. And I think, as the minister explained, the service provider was already contracted and paid in full to ensure that he transport the team back to Gambia within 48 hours after our participation in the AFCON has ended. That could be after the final, but it could be also up before the final. So I think the company that was responsible failed the ministry, and I'm glad that they are going to institute not the legal proceedings against that company. But then the information that we got from the Logistics Committee was that we were flying out of Cameroon on Monday midday. And this was what has been told to the players. But a couple of hours before that, we got another communique. Initially, there were problems with clearance from other airspaces, and then eventually it led to the unavailability of a flight. So it looks like it was the company that was contracted, the broker, that was not actually telling these people the reality of what was happening. So it was not the fault of the GFF, neither was it the fault of the government of the Gambia. And when there was a delay, this was what was communicated. But again, we were told that on Tuesday the team will leave at midday. So the players were about to bring their luggage down for the kids manager to go to the airport to check in earlier. Then there was another information that the flight wasn't available. And that was also communicated to these players by the president of the Gambia Football Federation in my presence. So there was no point where the players were not communicated to. So I think they got frustrated because the thing was that also what the organizers of the competition and the clubs of these players agreed on was that within 48 hours after their participation in the competition has ended, they have to report back to their clubs. But then the clubs took permission because everybody wanted to come to the Gambia together to have a carnival affair and go and meet the president of the republic to return the battle flag to. So the clubs agreed to it. But then because of the delay in days, some of the players, if they had come, they were going to be here early Wednesday morning, and on Thursday they are going back. But that was when they decided that they are going to buy their tickets to go. And also some of them, like the issue about the bonus, I think the minister would declare that more. But there was one particular bonus that was the center of controversy. I think some of the players talked about it, but it is unfortunate that maybe some of them do not understand, because the minister, when he was making this pronouncement, I was there. The minister made the pronouncement, and the GFF president was there. That $10,000 that each player was promised if we beat Guinea was to come from the qualification bonus that the Confederation of African Football was going to give. That is because when you reach the quarterfinal stage, there is an amount that has been given to the member association. But this money is not as if when you win, they just write a check or they just do a bank transfer. No, the competition have to end. Sometimes it will have to take a couple of months or so, even before this money is transferred to the GFF. So the promise was made, with the intention that once this money is being paid by the Confederation of African Football, the players were going to give this money. And I think the minister handled this matter very, very well. That for me, like I said, there isn't much that I could say, but there was never a point in time where there was a breakdown between the GFF and the players. The players were informed; they were frustrated.
Thank you, Baboucarr. That is why I did not direct my question to the minister, because he was very clear, and that is why I just wanted the public to know the bit where the communication, and you've made it now clear. So we are now clear as to the fact that communication was done properly, and sometimes this misunderstanding happens. It's unfortunate, but I hope that you all have mended fences and got those that are angry back into good spirit, and we become one scorpions again.
I have a question for the minister, and this is about, my question is, why was that particular flight chartered for? I know about the Bantaba group. They are a group of Gambians. Why not them, but the other group? That's my question. I'm curious, out of curiosity. I know you guys were vetting different groups.
I think it will be difficult. If Bakary was not part of the procurement committee, then I think we need to ask people that were actually in that committee.
No,
Bakary,
I was not part of the committee that chose the companies, but everything that we did was discussed at the NCC and finalized at the NCC. There was no time that any particular committee made a decision without involving the rest of us. So Mr. Sise, who is the head of the communication committee of NCC, is here to join us, so he'll be able to clear some of those things. But
Okay, Mr.
Yeah,
Cisse.
there's a logistics committee that is responsible for. No, I will answer that. Mr. Cisse will comment. There's a logistics committee responsible for that. What happened was there was, I don't, you know, the Bantaba group issued a press statement and said that they were mentioned somewhere and they wanted to clarify that, which was unfortunate, but it wasn't true. Because in my own interview, in the video, there was nowhere where I mentioned the Bantaba group. In the press statement that was issued by the NCC, there was no mention of Bantaba group. So I don't know why. I think they were just taking advantage of the situation and trying to bring up an issue and said, oh, well, we are also contacted. We offered, but they did not, and tried to make it look like they were mentioned by anybody when they were not. And I see some people confusing that and saying, well, the group that they said was contracted came out and said they were not contracted. That was unfortunate. Now, having said that, Bantaba group, we've worked with them in the past. They have transported players in our game to Gabon the other time, from Brussels to Banjul to Gabon and back here and then to Brussels. But this time around, they were asked to tender, and that was single source. It was handled by the ministry, and they came up with a proposal, and we gave it to them to do the service. This time around, there was a committee. It's no longer ministry or GFF. There's a committee that was there. And the committee's approach is that we are going to open up companies to submit proposals or make billings. And then we will choose the one that we think was most responsive. So Bantaba was asked to submit, but they said they don't want to participate in an open tender process. And we have all the email correspondences. They said they want us to deal with them alone, just like we did it in the past. And we said no. Now, the leader of the Bantaba group tried several times to send me emails that he wants to meet me alone. And I said, no, I am not going to meet with one supplier who is participating in a process. That go and meet the logistics committee, because those are the people responsible. And he went around talking to people that are close to me and said they should talk to me, that he wants to meet me. And I said, no, I don't want to meet anyone in relation to this matter. Go to the people responsible. Right? So eventually, he said he was not participating. Then we received quotations from Air Morocco, from Atlantic Airlines, from this one, the jet sport that we gave it to, from Aerowall, and there was another one. There were about 5 proposals that came. And the committee made a decision, the committee responsible, and they brought their decision to the bigger committee. And when they made the submission, they gave us justifications why they wanted to choose Aerowall and jet sports. Now, that was the time Bantaba again agreed to come and say, okay, we will participate in the process, even though it was late. But because they were a Gambian company, personally, I was the one who told them that let us still give them the opportunity. Now that they're willing to come and participate in the process, give them the opportunity. And they gave them the opportunity. They submitted a proposal. They were chosen, and they were giving an offer to take, because there were 2 flights that we needed. One that was going to take the players from Qatar to Banjul, and then from Banjul to Douala. And another one that was supposed to take the fans to Douala and then bring them back on return, where the players everybody would be in the same flight to go. We gave them that contract after they have given us their price. Then they went back after the offer was made to them. They came back and increased their price and added 15,000 euros, even though they were a little bit higher than the other one that we took. But because of the experience we had with them, and because of the fact that they are Gambian, owned by Gambian, we decided to say, okay, we'll give it to them. But after offering it to them, they went back and increased and added 15,000 euros, not dollars, 15,000 euros to the price. So when they submitted that, we said, no, we are not going to go by that, because you were already giving an opportunity, and then you said no, and then you come back after giving you add a price. And they said, well, they were never in the first price they gave us, the service charges was not part of it. I mean, everybody knows that you don't have hidden costs in tendering. When you tender, what you tender is what people go by. If after giving the contract, you increase your price, then automatically you're out of it. And that is how they lost it. So this issue that they offered and they were never given the opportunity is not the fact. I don't even know why people would even try to peddle those things when they know exactly what happened. And we have the email evidences. We have the first proposal they submitted. We have the final one that they submitted. And even when we said, go ahead and give us something, they went back and then after we gave the contract to somebody, the day we signed the contract, that was the day they sent us another email and said, now we are willing to take up the service charge. So this is exactly what happened between us and Bantaba. And I mean, it's
Thank
not
you
the
for
best thing to go back
clarifying.
and forth on these things, but it's important we make things very clear. But
Yeah, thank you for
I
clarifying.
don't even want to talk about the other issues. But like I said, Mr. Cisse is here. He knows everything what has happened.
Mr. Cisse, let's give you an opportunity to come in. You're mute at the moment. I know you seem to be driving, but if the noise is not too much at your end, then you can come in.
I'm very good. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Just to start with where the Honourable Minister ended in his comments regarding the bidding and where Bantaba stands. Just to go back, even as late as before departing Douala for Banjul, Bantaba was contacted to fly the team from to Banjul. And the quote I gather from the sources which were not, which I didn't see, but from the team manager and I think certain individuals was, to fly, I think 25 players from Douala to Banjul was something close to $120,000, and that is not even close to the entire team.
Sorry, they actually said that it was 16 players because this happened in my presence. They said that
Thank you, Baboucarr.
16 players, not 25 players.
Okay, 16 players. Thank you, Baboucarr. So there you go. 16 players to pay $120,000. From Douala to Banjul. Okay, that is not something that I think even anyone in his right mind would even want to entertain. The Honourable Minister made this very clear. Dealing with Bantaba was not the most of easiest of deals or negotiations you would go into. Yes, as a committee, this was brought forward through the logistics committee, what Bantaba was offering, and the hipping and hopping of shifting of positions in wanting to meet the committee or the logistics committee. They wanted us to play by their rules, which I think as a credible, an independent body responsible for everything that has to do with the entire, Gambia's participation in the AFCON wasn't anything that was ideal, and it was definitely not something we could attend to. But as the minister made mention out there, this is exactly what happened. And unfortunately for Bantaba, I think they realized that, they saw an opportunity and they just wanted to piggyback on it just to make sure that they are given a sympathetic ear or they're being sympathized with what happened. Absolutely, it is not the best of PRs, and it's unfortunately not something that we expect from decent and business individuals who are hell-bent on wanting to support. And besides that, also, if Bantaba was genuine, I'm not suggesting they're genuine, but wanting to be part of the promotion, in trying to be part of a group, a business that wants to support the Gambia national team in their maiden appearance in an AFCON, they would have expected something more than just wanting to fly the team at an exorbitant price. That is something that I also think that is not something that the committee could have entertained. But anyhow, this thing happened and we dealt with it, and here we are. Everything that the Honourable Minister said, it is exactly what happened, and unfortunately, it didn't go down well, and here we are. There's no sympathy towards Bantaba, and this is not something that we want to talk about lightly, because so much has gone under the bridge that we don't think that we should be entertaining some of these things just because we feel, sentimentally attached to. They are all our friends. They are all of. We know each other. We deal. But sometimes these things are not just something we just have to put in the forefront in conventional media or on social media, trying to discredit a group that didn't feel sympathetic to your bid. It is not very fair. I'm sorry.
And sorry, I will come on here. I think also when we go to the genesis of what happened with regard to the players coming live on Facebook, I want to believe personally that it has to do with Bantaba, in the sense that because the first person to come online on live through Instagram was Rhino's Corner, and he was trying to explain what really happened. But along the line, he was talking about Bantaba and Bantaba making a better offer. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bantaba were even.
So Baboucarr, not to cut you, I want to say that we gave them the opportunity to be part of this platform. I invited them to be part of this platform and they declined. So just to tell our viewers that we are not polarizing or trying to select a group over another.
In that explosive video made by the players, they quoted Bantaba, and Bantaba was the only group that they were quoted. And listen to what the Honourable Minister said, and also Musa Cisse said with regard to the Bantaba group. I think it will be very easy for somebody to draw an inference that that could be something that was even instigated, because why would the players talk about Bantaba and the offer that they made? Because the players were not part of this process. And at no point were the players told that Bantaba made any offer by us. Because I was with the team, 100% throughout the whole process. And all the communications that the team manager was making to this players, I was there, I was present.
Yeah, Baboucarr, can I just repeat, Mama, before you get on, I want to say this. Linger Post did reach out to the Bantaba group, and we invited them, and they turned it down. So to our viewers, don't say that we just pick government over that. They have the opportunity to be on this platform. So
yes, Esa, I don't know if you want to come in there with a question before I go ahead and ask the other question that I wanted to ask. We can't keep the minister here for a long time, so I wanted to get all our questions to him, and then we can continue.
Yes, Mama. Thank you, sir. Because dama bugona dem, why Minister Bibim ñëwé mané xara let me just hang around and then wait. Parce que I think the small question bi dafa go back to the same infrastructure buñ doon wax. I understand ñu ngi am match in March with Chad. And according to Baboucarr Camara, there's a possibility we will not be able to host that game because of the infrastructure might not be fit for purpose to host an international match. And I believe ne Gambia fi mu nekk nii tollu na foo xam ne war nañoo romb fu ñu ne am foofu noonu di war a nekk in 50-50 position da dinañ war a mën a host game bi ndax duñ ko mën a host because of the infrastructure bi is not fit for purpose. 1985 lañ am that Independence Stadium, and it is the only stadium boo xam ne moom lañ dey use for every single thing, every event in the Gambia moom lañ dey use. What is your government going to do? Are they going to promise the Gambians now ne within the next 5 years dinañ am a multi-purpose infrastructure boo xam ne moom la ñoo use pour lifin bi? And maa ngi agree ak yow si sa benn wax yaa ngi doon wax ne if we have these facilities, it is a means of lu nga xam ne dafa reduce crime rate bi. Suñ amee multi-purpose facilities pour nga xam ne xale yi youth si foofu la ñoo dem di am entertainment, di play football, di def yeneen sports, dinañ ñu mun a dimbale ba nga xam ne it can reduce the crime rate. Xale yi dinañ am activité si ñoo def suñu wàccee school suñ demut study, they can go to those places. And then football tamit mun nañ say mun na like it can take people out of poverty. We see that happening. Imaginal the 200-meter champion, African champion, Gina Bass, has to leave his family. Dafa war a bàyyi family bi pour mun a train in Senegal because of facilities yi foofu la nekk pour mun a raise the flag of the Gambia in international events. And I think it's high time now.
You buy Bakary mu answer si Olof, then you continue. Bakary, go ahead. Esa su ko defee doo jeex doo question. That Bakary sa Olof.
Bakary can speak in Mandinka or whatever.
No, that's fine. I can speak Wolof. I just wanted to be sure that's what Mama said. No, yeah, Esa, no, what that is true. Even about Baboucarr Bimo wax that part boobu and li mu wax dëgg la ñun ak si government bi ñu toog fii ne am nañ infrastructure bu baax. No, we know that am nañ lu dëgg and it's across. The most important thing mooy a stadium boo xam ne ni dañ ko mën a host international games matches or whatever or xam ne ni is approved by CAF ak FIFA. So yes, stadium bi access is CAF sax moo nekk laaj ñu ko waaye xëy na maybe not. FIFA we believe probably is not going to happen. Why so next match be in March, there is normally an improvement in there. When the stadium manager and they have okay, this is what CAF is looking for, and you try improve on those things before the game. So whether it's the pitch or the scoreboard, which we are now trying to fix, or the pavilions we need to talk, or the media rooms and the bathrooms and the change rooms. So these are the things and I think government did it last year. But then you don't play at Gabon, and they improve on those things, and we pass and we're able to play. So that's the intention of that. But that is not sustainable. You cannot be spending money just for events and then move on. So yes, and then it was good because Baboucarr also was trying to talk about the process, because sometimes we sit down, we talk about the concerns, the constraints that we have. And man, the last time I told them, Maryland, we have realized that. Unfortunately, Gambia, we know we would not be able to build a stadium by ourselves as it is. So we're trying to work out with some partners to see Nakala Nyomuna assisted in coming on board to either support as a grant or a loan or a PPP. That's what we're working on. So once we're able to at least seal a deal, we will let the public know. But the intention is this year, that's one of the priority projects that we want to do, building or starting of a new stadium. When Baboucarr said, if somebody asks where we're going to get the land, there's so much land available in the Combos. You know, it's the West Coast region is filled up with lands. There are some lands that are reserved for stadiums, including Kasakunda and some other places within the Combos that anybody can use to build a stadium. So yeah, that is the intention. So 2 things we want to do: build a new stadium and refurbish the Independence Stadium to standard. When it is going to start, that will definitely depend on the availability of our partner that is willing to do that. Now, about Gina Bass, sorry, Gina Bass is more technical than Luneka in the public, because through the Mr. Jallo movie, he knows everything about it, because Olympics we know facilitated more than Senegal. Now, bimdeme Japan, ñun ñëpp d'accord ne dina fi mu nekk ni passé na pour muy dem ci training center in Senegal, because level am bi passé na foofu dafa soxla ki nga xam ne is a more advanced center boo xam ne ni tamit trainer bi dina ko mën a train pour mu mën a compete ak the leaders, because loolu la amutoon. She has the potential, she have everything, why sprint bi dafa des. So, and we were all working on something. Unfortunately, it's a lot of times when you depend on a partner to provide something for you, it takes a lot of time because they work on their pace. So Lolen don't work on, and recently she had this opportunity because Olympics, the Beijing Commonwealth Games, All Africa Games is coming up, and so she can no longer wait, she has to go to Senegal. But the Senegalese center, there's a misconception about that center. Center B is not owned by Senegal. I don't know if anybody here knows any athlete in Senegal more than Gina. We don't have that. I mean, Senegalese don't have that. Gina's type, Baboucarr Camara's, Ibrahima Camara's type, or Adama. Senegal amuñ lolu because ñom sax duñ dé participate ci Olympics because amaguñ d'autres athlètes yoo xam ne they are there. But the Gambia has. So it's not about Senegal, because the center in Senegal is a regional center. Boo xam ne ni Olympics bi ñoo xool country ne dañ bëgg a center boo xam ne dafa serve the countries in the region. So that's why Tula of Ivory Coast was there. Gina was there. They acquired some of them that were from Nigeria and others. They're there because the center is a regional center. So I hope people understand that. It's not that Gina is leaving Gambia to go to Senegal to play. No, that center was built there for that purpose, for countries in the sub-region to send their athletes there for training. So low regulatory answer to those two questions.
I mean, it's so just to buttress, Mama.
Okay, go ahead.
Mama, just to buttress that point, because very important. Ablaye Jallo, who is an Olympian, and of course at the GNOC, he was in a better position to clarify it, because these are misconceptions and they peddle it. And just to put the record straight, as the Honorable Minister said, you have 4 of these centers in Africa that the International Olympic Committee build for at least countries like Gambia can send their athletes there to up their game. And so it's not just about, Gina, Gambia has no training, facility or center, Medium training Senegal. No, this is for entire West Africa, for the entire Western, training for you have them, for example, in Kenya, for high altitude training. That's where many of these people go to. So these are things that we need to know. And for Gina is also because he's on seasonal scholarship and all these things, he benefits from these things. This is not available to most athletes. As the minister mentioned, Senegal being Senegal, with everything they are doing in sports, they don't have athletes like Gina. And she's training in Senegal with Senegalese athletes who wants to be like her. So we should be very proud of Gina and her exploits. And if Gina was not in Senegal, she would have gone to the Caribbean, in Jamaica, where she's going to go and train. Where would she prefer more? In Jamaica, America, or Senegal? So, but since we continue to see the improvement, she's making. So this is just to clear the records that Gina is not in Senegal just because Gambia doesn't have a structure, a stadium fit for purpose. No. And also on the issue of the stadium, when the announcement about the stadium, because I sit on the Honorable Minister knows that I sit on the stadium board of directors, equally as head of the sports press in the country. The inspection made earlier on that brought our stadium into question. A refurbishment was followed. Perhaps before our game against Chad, another inspection would have to be made to determine whether the stadium is still, in the state
It's
in
fit
which
for
CAF
purpose.
want to see an improvement. It's
Yeah.
fit for purpose. I don't want to use the word fit for purpose, but I mean, that is, but it is still fit for purpose. It is usable, but there needs to be some work done on the stadium, on our stadium. Thank you.
Musa, I just want to ask quickly. The minister was not here when I was asking this question, but I can remember a few years back, there was this FIFA goal project. And part of that money was for infrastructure development, especially stadiums to decentralize the game. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened because we haven't seen really that coming into effect. And like we were saying before, ñun as Gambians or ñun as Africans, for you invest in sports to be able to get our people motivated, put them into sports. Because sports film neka ni du rek ay dawak yoy du ay fo ay xaliss mo ci neka ay million mo ci neka yo xamne ñata neka di ci jëriñu ñi nga xamne itamit nekatuñ ci sax mën nañu aspire pour jëriñoo ci lolu waye su fekkee ne amuñ di infrastructure ku nekk basse munta train ku nekk Birkama munta train decentralizing sports yeeg yoy nonu façon project boobu noonu FIFA goal project bi I know déggoon nañ ko fi waaye kenn xamatu fi mu nekk ni fu mu tollu lan mooy li nga xam ne mooy xëj na yéen seen role as GFF in making sure ne some of these things or the infrastructure the minister bi doon wax yes government
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Pour make sure ne mu dox.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, firstly, just to make clear, Manduma GFF. Baboucarr Camara is in a better position to speak about these things.
Yes.
Fine. I don't work for GFF. I'm a stakeholder. I'm into football and the sports and everything. Fine. But lima hamne mamla hamsi FIFA goal project me. Lulu is one aspect. Ben a project regular. Bo hamne. Federation B, Baboucarr will speak more on this thing. Federation B looks for funds from FIFA. You present Ben a project. You said you dimele and put you defco. Stadiums, as far as I know, GFF amuñ stadiums. Yep. Stadiums are located in municipalities and so on and so forth. We believe the local government should create, with the support of the ministry, these kind of facility structures for people to use, for the youngsters and the sports enthusiasts or athletes to use to better their skills, and then supported by whether it's the Football Federation, Basketball Association, the GAA, the Athletics Association, and so on and so forth. Sometimes we have these things on, if it is football, it's GFF. If it is athletics, it's GAA. If it is basketball, it's Gambia Basketball Association. We believe the municipal council should be able to put up structures as we know it, pull aspiring athletes see muna develop sen bopa association ci nga xamne ci nek ñom tam sen astuce nga xamne mëna am su ko defé structure ci mëna taxaw athletes use ko. But most of the times we find these things very much springing up from every corner. Government can only provide you with the land. For example, Honorable Minister, knows these things. GFF can only go to FIFA. We want to build this project. Can you help us? Blah, blah, blah. And they say what they can do, and so on and so forth. But most of the time, unfortunately, we get it wrong. The FIFA Gold project came some time ago. Now, I was some time ago in South Africa on the FIFA project. That's the Forward 2.0. Just to show everybody, and especially global press, how do associations access these funds to make sure that they can build some of these structures. It's not that whatever you want they give you, they make a very serious scrutiny of every single project that you put on the table, and it's not just we want $10 to give us $10. It's no. It might even take you 2-3 years to even get the $10 from FIFA, but they make it easy. Apply, just apply. And unfortunately for us, Gambia is doing very well, because I'm aware of countries that still could not access those funds from FIFA, because they couldn't just go and feel or just work on a project, a proper project. And this is serious, and I'm saying it in here, that still now some countries could not access those funds. And Gambia, for obvious reasons, we are doing very well. And all the projects that have been, as I'm aware of, Baboucarr will help me here, correct, that they were able to put on the table have somehow been approved. And approved and accessing funds are also two different things. When these projects are approved, it takes a while before FIFA also, this is how these funds for you to start your project. But most of the times what happened to the Federation, for example, once these projects are approved, an announcement is made, all that we associate is that yes, the money has been given to them, why is the project stalled? And these are all talking points which doesn't help us as a people, because we just want to talk about these things. Unfortunately, it's just a difficult thing that The minister is in the picture. The communication director at the GFF is in the picture. And hopefully, these things more light will come out of it, because I know that the projects have, since the Baboucar's video went around about the projects, the grounds, the stalling of the works on some of these grounds, FIFA has come forward, looked at everything, and now they are giving out the monies to the federation to start work on these grounds. So that is something that happened of recently, and I think it's a bit of interest for our followers to know that. Thank you.
Okay. So I have something to say, Mama. We've used the platform for the past hour and a half really to talk about the issues. Can we celebrate? Can we say congratulations to the Scorpion? I want to hear what you guys are feeling, what you guys are thinking, the energy that you brought back. Honorable Minister, have you been sworn in because you missed it? You were in Cameroon. Hopefully you're still the minister because you missed the swearing in ceremony. So
start with Honorable Minister, because he's
our viewers are really getting at it. Let's be positive. I want to hear feedback from you guys. What did it feel like when these boys won and made it to the quarterfinals? Anybody?
Honorable Minister first.
No, I think it was great. Thank you for cutting in and moving on to this part. But no, unfortunately, this thing of the chartered flight kind of messed up everything, and it seems to have overshadowed all the good work that has happened over the past month and over the weeks. But I think, and again, we, like I said in that video, in that interview, that as an NCC, we take responsibility for whatever has happened. We don't want to blames on people. We know sometimes in leadership, some of these lapses happen. Nobody's intention, but we want to focus on the positive sides, and which is that Gambia ranked 150 in the world in terms of football, was able to break that course or whatever that was on us, and qualified and became the only country ranked 150 to qualify for AFCON, which is great. And we went to AFCON and did well. Came out of the group, a very tough group with big countries like Tunisia and Mali and Guinea, but not Guinea, Mauritania. But we eventually won and became second in the group and moved on to the group of 16, defeated Guinea and moved to the quarterfinals. And of course, we met the big country like Cameroon, who was also a host country and has all the advantages of being a country that have won it maybe 4 or 5 times, and then also have the home advantage. And from records, they have not lost in many decades in their own country. So the players, by experience and everything, is different. And that's why for us, anytime we say it, we express our thanks and appreciation to the players for having done Gambia and Gambia everywhere proud, but having also saw the country's image and the country's flag out there. So that is what's the most important thing for us. And we celebrate it, and we will continue to celebrate that. Not only did we qualify, but we went to the group of the last country's group of 8 in our first AFCON participation, and that is tremendous.
That was a phenomenal debut.
Okay, I'm eating. So.
Baboucarr, I want to ask, as the communications director for GFF, Gambia was in the Sun newspaper. It was in a lot of international newspapers in terms of the achievement of the boys. How are you going to capitalize on that now to ensure that you continue to build on that, to ensure that we keep Gambia on the map when it comes to football and sports?
Thank you. And this is a it's a very tricky question, and I may not have a direct answer to it, but it is also a very, very important question. The AFCON is a game changer. For 70 years since the formation of association football in the Gambia, all that we've been trying is to qualify the African Cup of Nations. We went to the African Cup of Nations. I mean, the minister said it is the first time in the history of the tournament that a team ranked 158 in the world qualified. You understand? So everybody thought we were going to be the whooping boys. But we went in our 4th game against Mauritania, and Mauritania, that is their second AFCON. We believe it. This is their second successful qualification to the AFCON, and they are yet to win a match. Guinea-Bissau, who have also qualified before us, participated in 2 separate AFCONs, they are yet to win a match. Now the Gambia went there in our first attempt we won a match. And the last time that was done was in the Equatorial Guinea in the 2012. Yes, 2012. It was hosted by Equatorial Guinea and Gabon. That was their first match in the competition, and they won. Not only did we won, but we won 3 man of the match awards throughout the competition. So we went there. The bar has been set so very high that I mean, I don't want to put anybody on pressure, but I think now failure to qualify for an AFCON is even a non-starter now. you understand? How do we build on this? Look at it. If not for the intervention of the government.
If you're watching, you can send your questions on the comment section, and we will ask those questions as well.
Sorry, it's the kids. I've sent them out. I mean, you know,
yeah.
I've stayed here for an hour and a half. Now I think.
How are you, as the communications guy? How are you going to build on this momentum at the moment?
On this, look, what we did in Gambian football is public-private partnership. It's not only the GFF, not only the government, but the private sector. But what has the private sector done for Gambian football? When you look at it, you understand, it's very, very minimal. And then most of these organizations, they came when the, you know, when there was that dinner organized at the presidency. That was the time some of the companies came to bring something. AfriCell must be commended, because AfriCell alone as an institution, when nobody even believed in the process, pumped in $8 million. You understand? And they are the private sector that has contributed the largest share than all the others. And most of these organizations also, what they have contributed, when you look at it, is very, very, very minimal. And then once we are winning, this same organization, and even those that have not even contributed anything, you know, they were using the success of the national team for their corporate interests. And I think this is very, very unfair. You understand? So what we need is that the private sector and the public sector should join forces with all the stakeholders involved to ensure that the national teams are adequately funded, there is proper infrastructure in place. I mean, the issues that I talked about when it comes to the building of infrastructure, the same things that Musa just said, those were the things that I said even before he joined the program, you remember. That's why when he was talking, I didn't even want to belabor into that. But also, I said it, and I'm going to repeat it, and I'm glad Musa mentioned that point. And when I was saying this, Musa was not even here. The municipal councils also should make it their business by collaborating with the central government to ensure that these parks are upgraded to a standard where, you know, people will have, you know, I mean, a very good playing surface and all the facilities that come with it. Then it becomes even very, very easy for us to organize to host competition, because as things start right now, the Gambia do not even have the capacity to host an African under-17 champion. Even the WAFU under-17 championship was offered to the Gambia on a silver platter. The last one that was held in Senegal, we could not host it because the infrastructure is not in place. And this is just a regional tournament of only 8 countries. We could not host it.
Okay.
And without proper funding, it will be very, very, very difficult for us to build on this achievement that we have made.
Okay. Honorable Minister, I wanted to ask you a question as well. What are the biggest lessons learned in AFCON? What are some of the lessons that were learned, and how does government plan to use those as a learning curve for future tournaments, etc.? For you, what were the biggest lessons learned? You are mute.
Yeah. I was supporting Cameroon. They just lost, so that's why.
Cameroon lost to Egypt?
Yeah, on penalties.
Wow. Okay,
yeah, but no, for us, there was now, of course, even myself, but yeah, they lost in 5 penalties, so it goes on to the final. But yeah,
okay, so Cameroon, the host country, is not going to the finals. Egypt and
Senegal playing.
Wow, wow. That's.
And of course, for there's some lessons learned definitely on the part of the government. One of it is the amount of collaboration that have happened between us and the Football Federation in terms of ensuring that we work in unison and deliver what is been yearned for by Gambians for decades, which is the qualification. So we intend to continue on that collaborative part as a ministry and a GFF. But also there are some good things in terms of the services that have been provided, whichever it is in terms of their accommodation, their bonuses, and some of those incentives that have encouraged the players to do better and even make some more people wanting to play for the Gambia. The rest of it is continuing to provide the finances, because I know, people always sometimes say, oh, government should not even get close to the team and all that. But, and I did telling people, football is not just about the one who is playing. There is more to it. There is the coach aspect of it. There is the management aspect of it, in this instance, the GFF. But there is also the financing aspect of it. And that's where government comes in. So you can have the best of players in the world. You can have a very good coach. You can have a good management. But if government is not putting in money like it used to happen before, we will always be doing the same things and we will never get anywhere. So this time around, there has been an adequate investment from the side of government, and we will continue to do that as a government. So moving on, we hope, the good thing is that next month the qualifier starts again, which is in March. So we will move on from there and see how best we go. But I am of the conviction that we will go past Chad and go into proper group, and Gambia will definitely be in Ivory Coast in 2023.
That's good. Bakary, that's one lesson. There's a few lessons learned. I know we spoke about this as well. How does government mitigate the issue around the controversies around monies, etc.? I know a lot of people were saying that the players were promised, and they themselves, when they had this live video, spoke about the $10,000 that was promised but not given. We understand that it was supposed to be from FIFA and not from government, but the commitment from government has been settled in terms of their match bonuses, etc. How was that communicated? No. And what happened? How come the players did not understand that the money was not from GFF but from FIFA, a match bonus payment that was then going to use to pay them?
No, it's unfortunate that the players brought that match bonus thing into their frustration. And like I said, we're not going to blame them for the frustration of not leaving on Monday, instead they left on Tuesday. But the 10,000, truthfully, was very clear. I don't think there was any doubt. It's like what they're saying, they were never told about when they were going to leave, which Baboucarr clarified that they were told. I wasn't there. But for this $10,000, I was there when it was set. Because what happened, again, some of this back and forth, for me, it's not very necessary, because that's not what we intend to keep doing. I was here in Banjul when the issue of the what would be there for them if they get to the quarterfinal. Because anytime you reach the quarterfinal, FIFA CAF gives you some money. So the president of the GFA was the one who called me and said, the players are asking for this. What are they going to get from the money that they will get if you reach the quarterfinal? And I told him, go ahead and discuss with them and make a suggestion. So he called me back later and said, well, we have agreed as the leadership, that's the GFF, to give them $10,000 from that money. And I said, go ahead and communicate that to them. So where they had the meeting, I was not even there. And I believe the president told him, because when I went back to Camara, and that coincided with the game with Guinea. And after the game, I went down to the changing room of the players to congratulate them and thank them for doing well to have reached that level. It was there that the vice president, was the second vice president, Ibu Faye, told me that you can tell them about the 10,000. And I said, but I thought you guys already had this meeting last night. And he said, yes, but it's government, you go ahead and confirm it to them. And this is why I said it in that public, in that change room. And when I said it in the change room, I had no idea that it was going to go public, because it was not supposed to go public. What was discussed in the change room is supposed to be in the change room. Yes, I have seen players, multiple of them, about 3 of them doing videos of their celebration. And that was the time it was announced. But Lamin Jallo was actually on a live stream. And first person, I didn't know he was doing it. Even if I know, I would have said it anyway, because I was supposed to say it. So that's where the media picked it up. But the players knew, and that's how I announced it. I said, there was a question about this CAF money. and we have consulted, and this is exactly how I said it. We have consulted and agreed that when you win, you will give you the $10,000 from the CAF money. This was very clear. So a question that comes from that, and Camara answered it. And I went there and they want me to re-emphasize it, and I did it. I don't know how anybody can say he did not know that it was from the CAF money. I think they know. You know,
can I ask a question? Did any of you think that we're going to make it to the quarterfinals?
Whether we knew it.
Like before the match was played. Like I know you have a lot of confidence in them, and maybe this is for the Gambia Football Federation. Did they make that big commitment? Because maybe subconsciously we haven't been that far, so they're like, let's just say, you know, we're gonna give them $10,000 and really not believing that they would need to pay this amount. Because this was made before the game was played.
No, the first one, mine was after the game was played. But with the president of the GFF, it was before. It was before the game was played. But this is now the final game that you're going to win and get to the quarterfinals. And that was the question that they were asking, what if we win today's game and we get to the quarterfinals? And knowing very well that when you get to the quarterfinals, CAF will give you some money. So it's like me asking, so when we get that money, when we win and we get that money, what would I get out of it? That was the question. So it's not an issue of not having the money. If you win and you get there, there will obviously be money from CAF. And then you will be able to get
with all football players, or it depends, it varies with different countries and how much money they have?
No, when you make it to the quarterfinals. No, that is the same amount. Whatever, like the last countries, the 8 countries that reach the quarterfinals, they all get, I mean, excluding those that will move on. If you stop at the quarterfinal, you have, like, you know, we had like 4 teams that dropped at the quarterfinals and we had 4 that moved on. So those 4 are entitled to that money. Now, the ones that moved on to the semi-final, they also have their own amount, and just like the one that get to the final. So it was the 4 countries that stopped at the quarterfinal that will be entitled to that. But that money comes in after all of these things. So even if you read the press, those who listened to the video heard how it was quoted, that it was from the CAF money, and the players knew it. You know, so that's why I said it wasn't really supposed to be an issue. You know, but let me also take this opportunity to answer this question that is not related to the 10,000. I think the 10,000 is very clear. You know,
I think somebody's saying that a question or a comment here that CAF gives €1 million for the quarterfinal if you reach the quarterfinals. So are the players getting $10,000 each, or $10,000 to share amongst them?
No, it's $10,000. No, it's not euros, it's dollars, but it's $10,000 per player.
Per player.
Per player. Per player. Yeah, and that is different from the technical side. This is specific to the players. You know, so but you know, Baboucarr is here. He understands this thing. But let me say something. This is related to us now. That is this controversy about where is the 90 million that government was giving. And a player said it, and the public picked it up. And again, I'm going to go back to the same thing, that some of these comments are very unfortunate. People just want to make open accusations without establishing the facts. Now, even the player who asked that question, maybe they themselves need to ask themselves, where do they think the money is coming from that we're using to charter flights? Or where is the money coming from that we're paying them mad bonuses when they win? Or where is the money coming from where we used to charter a flight for the fans that went to Cameroon? We had the fans club, the official fans club, 50 of them that were taking from here to Banjul. And we have the players and the technical side that were chartered a flight from Qatar to bring them from Qatar at their training camp to Banjul. And then a charter flight took them from Banjul to Douala. Again, another charter flight came on Monday to pick the fans from Banjul to Cameroon. And the same thing was, they were supposed to bring us back. And I mean, bring them back. Now, in addition to that, you have a group of fans and regional sport officers and a number of journalists and GFF personnel from the region, numbering 150, that were taken to Cameroon. And they were lodged in a hotel, and they were eating from the hotel for the time that they stayed there, the 3 weeks. And every day, we buy tickets for each of those individuals. We do a COVID test every March for each of them. Where do people think the money is coming from? They think it's a donation or it's a free thing. So when people ask that irrelevant question of where is the 90 million, where is the 90 million? Where do they think we got this money to pay all these carrying flight and hotels and feeding and tickets for stadium and the COVID test and the match bonuses for the players? So I think people need to be responsible. I mean, there is no one here who is here to enrich the world. If there is, I am not part of it. We have a responsibility. We were giving money to do a job. And the thing is, we were very transparent. Every money that came in, we publicize it. Whatever government gives, you publish it. Mr. Cisse is here, he's head of the communication. He insisted that we must have a list of all the donors and the amount they give. And this thing was published on the Standard newspaper, it was on the Point newspaper. So any amount that came into our AFCON account was accounted for. Now, and when we are ready, we are going to do a report of how much we spend on accommodation. In fact, Gambia, Axbia, small Axbia, we are one of the countries that said our players are not going to be in 2 rooms. When CAF gave us the number of rooms for the players through the team manager, it was the team manager came up with a brilliant idea, because CAF was saying if one player tests positive for COVID, both players that were in the same room would be quarantined. So the team manager came up with the idea that it might not be wise for us to keep 2 players in a room, that we put them in separate rooms, so that even if one person tests positive, the other can still be able to play. And that would mean you would have to get extra rooms that you're going to put the players and the officials in, and that you're going to pay by yourself. So those 17, 18 rooms that we were getting in addition to what CAF gave us, for the number of days that they stayed in Boye or in Douala, we paid for it, including the extra feeding. So these are all expenses that was paid from that money, and yet people go around asking the people, where is the 90 million? Ask if they did not know, even the players did not know that a chartered flight took them around. I don't know how they think chartered flight cheap things for people to do. So these are things that I just want to clarify.
Yeah, I think I just want to ask another question there. You talk about these things, and when you came out, people like me that even saw the videos from the players and reacted, when you came out to clarify some of these issues, a lot of us were able to then appreciate some of the, at least government's position. Do you think, therefore, that there has to be more communication? You're the minister, yes, you coming out to clarify these things helped a lot. But if there was communication in terms of effective communication to the public, some of these things would have happened. Because what you're explaining right now, even with the extra accommodation to mitigate the COVID circumstances, were not communicated to the public, and the public do not know about it.
No, I think Baboucarr did. I remember Baboucarr making those kind of postings. Okay, let me Baboucarr will answer.
I think we need to be very, very fair. The minister and the institution that he represents and the Gambia Football Federation. You understand? These were in the public domain. You understand? Everybody knew. We said this, even interviews that were granted by the coach and others, among other members. It was clear that when we went, CAF gave 40 rooms per member association. We have to understand that first. So when the team manager came, because he was one of those that were on the Eteras, we call it Eteras, and Musa was the one of those members of Eteras. They were quarantined. When they came, we looked at the situation because that was the same day that we also had a welcome meeting with CAF, and CAF said in the rules that when one player tests positive, the teammates, whether you are negative, they don't care. You are also going to isolate and are not going to participate in this match. And then you need to have at least 11 players to play a match. And out of that 11 players, even if you don't have a goalkeeper, you must play as long as you have 11 players. That's what happened with you see with Comoros. And if you have less than 11 players, then the match cannot hold. And if the match cannot hold, you forfeit those points. So you see the consequences are too much. So that was when it was decided, it was discussed, and it was put forward to the NCC, the minister chairs, and they agreed. That was why each player was given a room, and these things were communicated to these players as well. I am the team media officer for this AFCON. So all these things were communicated, and even the issue of the bonus, the $10,000. Let me clarify that it is the Gambia government and the GFF that pays these players in euros, but in CAF, whatever money Gambia Football Federation gets from CAF or FIFA, all their transactions are done in dollars, not in euros.
Okay.
You understand? And the president made this remark even before, the second vice president, because before the match, the minister was with the GFF president, so they could not have access to the dressing room. But after the match, they came. And the minister, if you dig deeper, you will see when he was making this pronouncement, cameras within the dressing room. That was where some controversies came from, because it was a dressing room. He said we consulted, and when we consulted, we agreed that. And when he said the president of the GFF and them, they consulted and agreed that because there is going to be a money for the qualification to the African to the quarterfinals. So they've agreed that out of that money, $10,000 is going to be given to every player. You understand? And I mean, come on, this is basic common sense. Basic common sense. You know that even if you play local Nawetan in the Gambia here, it is the end of the tournament that is when you are due a prize money, not during the tournament. The tournament is still ongoing. It's not as if CAF has just written the check the moment that we qualify. No, we have not accessed this money. It's very, very unfortunate. I think, initially, when I watched this video, I thought the players, had a good intention, goodwill in doing it. But you see, if you don't also know much, you want to save a lot also. Sometimes, you can drift, away on the line. So, and then there are, certain comments that I will not make here because they are not fit for public consumption. But having worked with these players before, this is not the first time I'm in the same training camp with them. But this is the longest period that I've spent with them. I know a thing or two about every player within that group.
And that brings me to my other question. I think maybe yourself and Cisse can answer that question before I pose my final question to the Honorable Minister. We saw the controversy again around the captain's ban, the issue of Baynas, and what that also brought in terms of, sometimes a lot of people say we Gambians just love the noise. We love, we cannot celebrate without, just having some sort of noise or controversy around these things.
Mama, can I come in there before you go ahead? I think the problem we have is we've been muted for 22 years. Now that we are unmuted, we cannot keep it. It's just, we are just all dying to express ourselves. Honestly, I'm not even trying to be funny here. That's the problem. We've been muted. Yeah, I mean, for 22 years. Now that, we've been unmuted, everybody have an opinion. Everybody is an expert. Even football, I had an opinion. I'm not trying to be funny. Honestly, I know I try to be funny on this show, but I'm not trying to be funny. We all have an opinion, and that whole thing, I didn't even validate it. I just thought it was a whole bunch of people trying to create controversy. Some people claim that because of the whole controversy surrounding the ban around Gambians and Bopa. But for me, the boys, what they did, I'm proud of them, and I know everybody on this platform is proud of them. And really, honestly, I truly wish that today it was all a whole bunch of celebrations and not, this whole back and forth and money. And, for me, even, money well spent. I know that the viewers will curse me and insult me. I can take it. 20 years later, as an activist, it's okay. We're used to it. Bring it on. So, Mama, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mama.
I know Baboucarr is on mute, but what did that do to the morale? Because I know it wasn't meant in the way that it came out or the way that the people, interpreted it, and the controversy that it brought. What did that do to morale within the group? Because, like I said, we've seen that the group were praying during, even before matches, and they were they were praying, and there were some people in the team who were not Muslim who were there a part of the prayers as well. And it's the same with the dressing room as well when they're having their discussions or their talk, etc. So if, for example, the Christians within the group did not say that we have a problem with this ban or this is an issue, exactly what did that do to the team?
Let me say this thing clearly in here. This is something that I think is the most trivial thing we'll discuss on this show. I mean, for me, I'm sorry, because it's a non-starter. It's a non-starter, yeah. I mean, just take that from me. As a Muslim, as somebody who's been with these boys, I think I'm one of the individuals who has. We spent 36 days together away, 36 days from Qatar straight to Cameroon. Yeah, so that's the longest. That's a very long period. And every day when these boys get up to go to train, before training they will pray together. Yeah. Any match day before they go out, they'll pray together. At the end of the match, they will pray together. When at the end of the very first game, Lamin Jallo led us in the prayer in the middle of the park. In a game against Mali, the same thing. Against Tunisia, the same thing. Before heading out on the field, they will pray together. It doesn't matter. The issue of the armband is the most trivial thing because nobody knows about it. It is the coach's. It is the captain's choice. That is his belief. I think we would leave it to that because the captain never mentioned. The captain never said that this is about us.
Yes.
If at all, the captain was referring to that on behalf of the team, but it was an individual out of just, I think, let me say this thing very openly, being a little bit childish, made those pronouncements. Why should we take that to be the team's? Because the team has never made a statement. The captain has never made a statement that this is who and what we are, and which we are never. So why do we even want to discuss it? Because the more we discuss it, the more flame we put on this fire, and there's nothing. What makes what is the strongest thing that epitomize the Gambia's national team stand is that at the end of every game, we sit in the middle of the park and pray to God, the omnipotent, who is bigger than any individual out there that you want to identify or associate yourself with. I think that's the most important thing that should suffice for anybody, because not the team manager, not the coach, not the captain. It's just an individual player who came to say this, and he wasn't supported by anybody. So let's make that very clear. So for me, let's just bury that, Mama, and it doesn't make appetite for any good thing. So
definitely, I think freedom. It's like Jay said, the freedom of choice, speech, religion.
I would go back to say that we've all been unmuted. Probably yes, this is some people's belief also. But let me also say something in here that would have been of interest to everybody. Do you know that each of these players were supposed to get $15,000 after if we beat Cameroon? Honorable Minister is here. Baboucarr is here. This was money, promised to them that beat Cameroon and you get this money. So what happened? So you see, there are so many things that unfortunately, this is said in the dressing room because that's where it belongs to. But unfortunately, people don't understand what is being privileged to privilege information and what is meant for the public. But this is something that was just supposed to inspire them, to motivate them to go and battle and get a fitting reward. But unfortunately, it was never meant to be. As the Honorable Minister said, the whole thing about this incentive to motivate them, to inspire them to do good and be given this $10,000 was well conceived while the Minister was away and was communicated on our dinner table. And I was one of them who asked, can you kindly contact the Honorable Minister for this? And when he came, he concurrently agreed to it. And in the dressing, during the tactical meeting, after the team were prepared to go to the stadium, the president of the federation stood up to tell them that this is for you if you do this thing. And they did it, and the money is going to be given to them when it comes. Because I think some of these things are so trivial, Amama. So that is just to buttress the Honorable Minister's point there. And for some of us who were very much involved. Thank you.
I want to ask, I think, we want to keep it positive because obviously we should also celebrate the boys. They have made or achieved something, especially at their debut at the AFCON, something that we've never had. Part of that, we have to give credit also to the coach of the team, who we know also, someone saying that maybe he should have been more attacking with the Cameroon game. But again, this piece, I think, again, Monday morning quarterbacking, we all can say and be coaches after the event. But I think, like I told somebody, to even hold Cameroon for a whole 45 minutes in the first half, that's an achievement. And I think we need to celebrate, the fact that the team went out and made this achievement. And it's Gambia on the map, is the people, it's Gambia that is being celebrated everywhere around the world. And like I said, including the Sun newspaper, where we got center page with everybody talking about this. Bakary, as a minister, this is my final question. What are you going to say to the young boy that's sitting today at home, thinking, I want to go into sports, I want to go into football or sports in terms of going into the Olympic Games as well? What are you going to say to them as the Minister for Youth and Sports? What is your commitment or your government's commitment towards ensuring infrastructure and funding for sports in the Gambia?
Well, no, it's just like what I told a friend, what I told Fat Camara. Actually, let me just say, one day, we were chatting, and I said, I regretted not pursuing a career in football, because of all the things that happens around football. While you are there as an administrator, they get more than you, and get all of it. So, but that's by the side. For me, I think Gambian young people, Gambian children, and others can have the belief that just like somebody goes to school to study accounting or engineering or any kind of subject out there, these young people can also do something in sports, and they can become responsible, and they will be great people that will be celebrated. Everyone will be proud of them, just like how we are proud of the Scorpions today, or just like how we are proud of Gina Bass and others who did well in the Olympics last year. That is what we want. Gambia is small in size, but just like what Sadio Mane said, that when you have 11 versus 11 men in the field, it's all a man's game. Go out there and do your best. So we believe that small as we are, our young people can believe that we can be a Cameroon or an Egypt in football, or we can be any other person out there in the sports world. But of course, it comes along with a lot of investment, with a lot of encouragement, and a lot of support that should come from all sides, from government, from parents, from the society. But us as a government, we are ready to ensure that we continue on the successes that we have achieved in the track and field, in the football, and eventually move ahead and look at other sectors as well. Our volleyball team won the Zone 2 here in Banjul about 2 weeks ago. So these are the kind of successes we want to continue to register, both in all kind of sports. And people can be assured that as we have started improving on our infrastructure across the country, we will build on all sectors of sports. And I was said about the issue of the law. We understand that you cannot be able to have advancement in sports if you don't have the legislative framework in place, if you don't have the right financing. So all of these things will come to pass, but a lot of things will change before the end of this year, and Gambians will be proud that our sports is advancing. So this is my conclusion, and I of course want to thank you, Mama, and Nance, and everyone who has been in this panel. It was great being around, and again, appreciate and thank our Scorpions for having done extremely well there in Cameroon. Yes, we have little issues here and there, but we will always celebrate them for what they have done, and nobody can downplay their efforts.
Especially your captain, Honorable Minister Badjie, I think, who has been just endeared to everybody, every Gambian for not just, I think it wasn't just his discipline, but also his humility and the fact that he also led a very legendary team towards this glory. But I would like to read something that Cherno Samba also wrote. He played for Gambia before, and he said, "Our epic AFCON journey has come to an end. The L doesn't mean lose, it means legendary. And this team, these players, these warriors will go down in history." That's my last question to you, because I have, sorry. I wanted to ask, how are you going to honor these players? I know we talked about the match bonuses, etc. But what is the government thinking in terms of awards? We have seen that the president has been awarded any national honors since he came into power 5 years ago. Is the minister going to now lobby for these players, at least these legends, to be given national honors?
Yes, that's true. Yesterday on the side of the meeting that they had with the president, those were some of the discussions that we did on the side. And in principle, he has agreed to it, but like you said, he has not done it since he was appointed. I mean, since he was elected. So he told me he's about to set up a committee, because he doesn't just choose and say, give this person. There's normally an investiture committee that is supposed to be set up. So once that is set up, we will submit, we make our own submission from the ministry as to who we think is deserving. And certainly, if there's anyone who is deserving in the sports this time around, it will be the national Scorpions who have done us so well. So we would put them out there. But there are also some other considerations that we're making at government level. It might be premature to say it now, but once we are done with our consultation, we will definitely make an announcement that in addition to the awards, there are some other things that government have in place to give to the players.
Thank you. Musa, same question on Baboucarr. What are some of your thoughts around sports in Gambia long term?
Yeah, I mean, I just to buttress the minutes, just to compliment, because I had the sports press in the country, and every year the single biggest sports award in the country is held, and this is just in recognition of some of these things that the Scorpions have done, and it is going to be one of the biggest that we will be having this year, just to mention, to celebrate. And I know the football house would also tend to do their own awards. This award is for all the sports in the country. That's every sports that we have are being practiced in the country are recognized because of their exploits. And I think for me, as the head and the president, I mean, Scorpion stands out, and we're going to, I mean, honor them in the biggest manner we've ever done, I mean, this year for the Scorpions. And the Honorable Minister is very much aware of that. Last year was done at the Badjie International Conference Center, which is as epic as ever. It's growing and growing following their qualification. But now their participation and the exploits demand something even much bigger. So it's also in the pipeline, also coming.
Okay. Baboucarr, any final comments before we give an opportunity for the Honorable Minister to close? Baboucarr, are you there?
Baboucarr is gone. He did send a message.
I think it's gone.
Okay. 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 So, Honorable Minister, any final comments for people that are watching you online on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, people that would also watch this video, I'm sure, afterwards? What are your final comments for the Scorpions? What would you say to them, for the fans, and also the general public in general?
No, it's just to express our thanks to everyone. Like I said, this has not been a journey of only players and management and ministry. It has been a journey for all Gambians. People have contributed in their own ways in seeing us through this whole process. So we want to extend our appreciation to every Gambian out there and non-Gambian that have been supporting us over the years and over the 3 weeks that the team has been in AFCON. We know people love the Scorpion so much, and we've seen the support online and offline on the ground. Whenever we win and the streets are filled up with people. So that is the support that we want everybody to continue to do, not just for our national team, but for all other sporting associations, sporting activities in the country. But again, to call upon people, because like I said, March, Gambia is playing Chad. So let's demonstrate that by filling up the stadium and giving our team the utmost support that they need when they come over to play with Chad for the preliminary rounds. But otherwise, thanks to everyone. To those that have also reached out to give advices, we appreciate them. Those that have also been criticizing us positively or constructively, we appreciate all of you. And those that probably just make statements out of anyhow they want to do it. We hope that people will take time and try to understand each other and try to understand how these things are managed. And or even reach out to us. I'm always available online. People can reach out to me and offline, and I'll definitely give responses if I have the answers. I think that is better than making wild statements and not understanding the facts. But thanks to everyone for all the support.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for honoring our invitation to come here. We would like to take this opportunity through you as well to congratulate the Scorpions, the entire team, and of course to congratulate you as well, because you've also contributed a lot in terms of just your presence and being able to support the team all the way through. So we thank you as well, and hope that as you said, sports investment, sports infrastructure investment will be at the forefront of government policy to be able to move sports as a driver for youth employment and economic growth. So we thank you so much, Bakary, for coming today.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye, Bakary. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I guess I learned a lot. And to our viewers, this show was really about, I guess, facts. We had the minister on. We had pretty much everybody who was supposed to be on was on. And for me personally, some of the questions, I ask the questions and get to hear the other side of the story I'm not seeing the comments. I don't know what people are saying. I barely spoke because at the beginning I made it very clear that I don't know anything about football or how it works. So, you know, I couldn't contribute as much. But I think as Gambians, we really have to start exercising some sort of restraint, especially when we are online and other people are trying to share their opinion. Not everything should be politicized. Not everything is about politics. And sometimes, I mean, we love our viewers. I'm not gonna lie, but I also want our viewers to understand that we are human, and sometimes some of your comments can be a bit, you know, like Mama had a status today, you know, about the insults and the attacks that you guys, you know, just place on people. At the end of the day, we are human, and I'm not Mama. Mama, you can insult and she can take the high road. I'm going to get back on this platform and go through the comments and just believe that if I am insulted, I'm going to throw it right back. Let's make that very, very clear. And to those of you who watch the show, I'm going to address this to the person who sent that message about my son being on the show. I saw your message. Thank you very much. But I hope you would take the time to get to know each and everybody on this platform. And anybody who knows me and anybody who's been around me knows that my child is out of balance. Nobody, no human being is allowed to have an opinion about him. It's not up for debate. It's not up for anybody to criticize. And my parenting skills is of nobody's business. I've been raising this child since the day he was born. He's going to be 5. I read through your message. You were very diplomatic about it, but I'm not the typical Gambian woman. I'm not raising my child to shelter him from all these things that the average Gambian woman shelter their children from, number one. Number two, half of the time when the show is going on, he's busy playing around. I'm a single mother and I live with him. So you will get to see him come and out. And if you have a problem with a kid in the background with a single mother, Mr. I don't want to say your name. Don't watch. It's a simple thing. Do not watch. So who's protecting my child? I am protecting my child, and I've been doing it for the past 5 years. And nobody, no human being can come on this platform and attack my parenting skills. It's not up for debate, and I'm not inviting anybody, and I mean no soul, no human being is allowed to tell me how to parent my child. Thank you. The platform is yours, Mama. I have to say that. I have to say that.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, I think, you know, we invited the GFF as well as the minister to come and just talk to us and clarify, and to also just celebrate the AFCON. We did not want to make it a confrontation, because that's not what it should be about. It should never be about
the celebration.
I think it should be about celebration, and it should also be about being able to recognize people's efforts and celebrate the gallant Scorpions for what they did. Yes, there were some controversies that happened, but I think even the boys that posted some of those videos deleted their videos from Facebook. At least one of the videos that I shared was deleted. And I think it's all in the spirit of reconciliation and of camaraderie. And I think we should be able to be to recognize that, because they were able to get on a flight together and come back home together and be celebrated by all of us in the streets, as well as being able to meet the president and return the flight and have discussions with him, the flag, sorry, and then have discussions with him. So I think, you know, we need to be able to be tolerant of each other. I think the issue or the questions around the monies have been clarified. Now, a lot of people will say, but we cannot make allegations that we do not have any proof on. And that is not something, or that is not the style that Dingle Post wants to take, you know, with any issue. We do not make allegations that we don't have any proof on. What we know is that the money that was given by the sponsors, by the government, went into went into what it was supposed to go into, which is to transport the players, the staff, and everybody else, that the supporters and everything, and to take care of logistical arrangements in Cameroon, etc., which is what happened. The issue of the flight, I think, has been clarified. The issue of the legal challenge with the supplier that was contracted has also been explained, I think, by the minister in his other interviews, and I think it will be something for the journalists on the ground to also follow up to ensure that whatever monies that are due have been reimbursed through the legal action that the GFF is taking against the provider of that service. And I think, you know, this is something that we cannot get into because it's a process that's going on. So I just want to say that I think we should, as much as possible, keep the discussions respectful. We should try to understand that if I don't want to be insulted or treated this way, I should not insult or treat somebody that way. I think you can have an opinion, you can share your opinion without being disagreeable or being or insulting anybody. I think that is something that we all need to learn as Gambians, as mature adults that you know, that are in this social media
We can have
space.
differences in opinion. We don't have
Yes.
to agree. I don't agree with Mama all the time. She completely disagrees with me replying to the fan who wrote the letter, but we disagree, and it's okay. It's okay to agree to disagree. Just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean you start calling their mother's private parts, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
really,
but
like,
I think what is not okay is to come on you know, when people are talking on social media or anywhere, to insult them or to denigrate them in any way. I think that is something that we should all be mindful about, because you don't treat anybody like that. I think you treat people with some sort of courtesy, and you get that same respect back from the same people. And I think it makes it easy as well. We have a government right now who, you know, no matter what we think about them, they come out and they are speaking to us. When we invite them, they honor our invitations to come and clarify issues, etc., or clarify positions. And I think we can leverage on that to be able to hold them accountable and to ask the questions that we want to ask. But you know, that's the only thing that we can do. So again, we would like to celebrate the Scorpions. We would like to celebrate the coach and the coaching staff and everybody that made this possible, the sponsors, etc. And Nance, I have to thank Hadi Marong. You see my vest today. It came late, but at least I got it. And I think I'm going to show you the back. Can you see?
Mama Linger, I saw it.
Yes. So thank you to Hadi Marong for my vest. It did not get to Sweden on time for the match, but at least I got to wear it today to do this interview. So I thank her, you know, for sending me this jersey. And I think even if you know, we have a match with Chad, like the minister has said, and we will all come out to support the team. It's irrelevant what political party you support, what religion or whatever you belong to. When things are called national for a reason, Nance. National means every single Gambian should be able to identify. That's all. Man, hang on, so I'm a celebrity, because man, I'm nowhere near celebrity. But at least, you know, I got my jersey from Gambia, from Hadi Marong, and I want to say thank you to her. Definitely. And like I said, we should come out and support the team when it comes to our match with Chad, the qualifiers for the AFCON that's going to be AFCON 2022, because this is AFCON 2021. So at least, yeah. So thank you to
I thought it's every 2 years. Mama, you everything comes in football Hollywood Day.
Man, how much is that? Anyway, thank you to all of you. Yes, Nancy, Coach Munenga Bay Defante.
No, Coach Defante, I'm going to do Mokabai, because I feel like that's the only language that some of these people speak. Like,
Anyway, thank you to all of you for watching. I'm sure, you know, the minister will grant interviews to everybody and they'll be able to ask the questions that they want to ask. I hope we were able to at least get some of the answers that you wanted from the team that was here today. And we must also thank Bakary and Cisse, and of course Baboucarr for coming and you know, at such short notice. today, and Musa Sise. And tomorrow, of course, we're not coming on live. But
my cousin. He was on.
Musa Sise, right? That's him.
Musa Sise is not my cousin. My cousin is Abdullah Jal. Get it right.
Oh, sorry. Yes, Mr. Jallo of the Olympic Committee was also here. Yes, Nancy's cousin. Thank you, Mr. Jallo, also for honoring our invitation at such short notice to come and be here as well and talk about the Olympics. Unfortunately, we couldn't talk more about the Olympics. We wanted to go into other issues about sports around the Olympics as well, but we'll do that some other time. Yes, sorry, tomorrow, unfortunately, there is a lot of commitments. Nancy has commitments, and so does Paos, and of course, myself. So, we're moving the show, but actually, Amina Jain might be coming on tomorrow, so we'll see if that will work out. We'll see how that works out, and if Jakon can host, then she will come on and do something tomorrow. But thank you.
Thank you for watching. My son has school tomorrow. I have to be up at 6.
Yes. So I think where's the ST song again? That's my favorite song at the moment. Definitely.
Bye guys. Thank you for watching. See you next week.
Kasankele so Musol Nikel Din Din Ninkeba